We're going to be having a discussion in studio where family as well was affected by a different type of cancer. Multi-talented Phumeza Mnqobi and her husband Shota, real name Mnqobi Mdabe, are back in the spotlight after a 5-year break. They've held a low profile after their youngest son, Mpilo, was diagnosed with stage 4 eye cancer back in 2014. Now, during this time, medical bills piled up, business dried up, and friends disappeared, along with their valuable assets. Little Mpilo, who's now 16 months, when he was diagnosed, had to have his right eye removed and then his left eye as well. The couple grew closer, and they're back now with a single, which we'll talk about in just a few, where they talk about their loved ones and having to learn and accept that all they have is each other. They join me now in studio. A very good morning to you.
Good morning.
And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having
It's an honor to be here.
I mean, we're broadcasting Xolani Gwala's funeral service live, and we know about his battle with colon cancer. You guys also had to deal with a different type of cancer yourself. I can only imagine the hardship of having to, you know, get the news that your child has cancer.
It's very, very sad. We just like to say our sincerest condolences to Xolani's family. You know, we're with them in spirit. We understand. Fortunately for us, we didn't lose our son, but I mean, we understand. I think it was only 2 years for him, and now he's gone. So we really felt it when we heard that he had passed. It's not an easy thing to go through. We were fortunate in our case because the cancer was in Mpilo's eyes, so they could remove the eyes. Unlike someone who has it in their internal organ, and you can't remove an organ, or you can't remove certain parts of your body. If it's in your hand, you can take off your hand, but I mean, if it's in parts of your body that you can't remove, then unfortunately, you have to keep going for treatment until, you know, something happens. So, yeah.
Shota, tell us about this journey. I mean, we know, we've heard from Xolani Gwala's family how they're going to start a foundation to help those who are battling cancer and just don't have the funds to afford the medical bills. In the intro, I spoke about how you guys are saying the bills just piled up and the friends just left. Tell us a bit about that journey.
It was extremely difficult because it happened at the time when our careers, you know, were picking up, you know, we were living our lives. And now to stop singing, to stop what you love, you know, to stop traveling, you know, like you said, those bank accounts dried up. You have to make some adjustments, you know, but we were driven because, you know, this young one, you know, is an angel. So we're looking at this young one and say, look, our careers, they're like a job. You know, it's like you wake up every morning and go to your job. But this young one is part of your life. So we're like, okay, that could wait. As long as we are still together, that can wait. Let us focus on his survival, you know. But it was never, never easy. Because also, you know, when it comes to cancer, I believe us as Black society, we're still not really educated, well educated about cancer. You know, we think maybe it's far from us, whereas it's just around the corner. You know, so I believe a lot can be done, you know, in terms of preparing us, you know, for such. You know, it's hectic, it's hectic. It could literally destroy you because it takes each and every cent you have. You might sit here and say, I've got a medical aid, but there's stuff that you do not know. It takes everything away from you. So if you, one of those people who are living beyond their means, or who live beyond their means, really, you know, it's very difficult to win the battle.
Sure. And I mean, how do you explain this to a child, what they're going through and the fact that they've been diagnosed? How do you find the words to explain that I'm so sorry, but they're going to have to remove your eyes in order for you to live?
Well, Mpilo was 13 months or 16 months old at the time, so you can't really explain anything to a 1-year-old, really. You just basically go through the process. And you know, you say, okay, now we're going to the hospital, you're sick, and they're like, what are you talking about? Okay, you know. So there wasn't really, we couldn't really have a conversation with him about it. He wouldn't understand at the time. It's only now that he's 6, he's slowly, you know, he'll tell you, I had cancer, and my eyes were taken out, and so he's starting to talk about it, even though he doesn't understand the depth of it. So it's only now that he's starting to talk about it as well. So I think as he's growing up, then he'll slowly learn what it is and what happens. because at the moment he also thinks everybody can't see. So it's not just him, all of us, we all can't see. So
Oh, wow.
that's where we're at.
Well, tell us a bit about bouncing back then from this. You know, after having to deal with this, after having to lose so much, how do you bounce back? How have you guys been able to bounce back?
Look, we fortunately were able to save up because, I mean, in our industry, you don't know when you're working, when you're not working. So, you know, it's slowly, everything slowly, you know, faded away, but we are slowly building things back. Where, you know, we just said, okay, we're going to release a song together to just let people know that we're back officially. And to let people know that the storm is over, because we speak to a lot of people and they're like, oh my gosh, are you okay?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, no, we're fine. We're blessed. You know, our son is alive. He's healthy. He's great. He's just like any other child. He's naughty. He's a normal 6-year-old, you know. So now we're just looking forward to the future and celebrating life and bouncing back to what we thought was a good life back then, but right now we're more wiser, even financially, in the decisions that we make. And this whole situation, you know, gave birth to the Mnqobi Foundation for blind children, because after we went through the whole cancer thing, we then struggled to find a special needs school. So in South Africa, there's a plight for special needs children. They are forgotten, literally. So that's a voice that we would like to be a part of and say, you know, what can we do to make sure that any special needs child is treated like any other child, where they can go to school, they have a right to education, they have a right to play with the toys that they need to play with in order to develop them, you know. That is a very, very big thing in our country that is not being talked about and is being neglected. So Mnqobi Foundation is just, we're planning to build a school. That's what we're busy with at the moment. And then we will have funds for eye care. So because Mnqobi wears prosthetic eyes, they're very, very expensive. They are, at the moment, they're about 25,000 per eye. So things like that, if a normal person in the rural community who doesn't know where to go, what to do, I can't imagine what they're going through. So that's our role as Mnqobi Foundation to do that. So, you know, if people want to reach out, donate, anything, find out more.
Well, we are running out of time, but we do want all that information.
Sure.
So where can people go?
They can go to www.mnqobifoundation.co.za and they'll find all the information. And on social media as well, it's Mnqobi Foundation.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Multi-talented Phumeza Mnqobi, as well as her husband, Shota, whose real name is Mnqobi Mdabe, joining us to speak about their journey with cancer and how they've been able to bounce back.